So welcome back to Coffee Talk. This is our monthly video series here at Advocate, where I ask Kate all about things. In this episode, we're talking all about creating your own business, which is quite a leap.
Yes.
And I wanted to know what drove you to create Advocate in the first place.
Well, I was working at the Chronicle, and things weren't perfect. And as I was quitting, Mark Frost said, "You have what it takes to start a business. You should start a business. That's what you should do." And I was like, here I am, like, leaving my job, and Mark Frost is telling me I should start a business. And I mean, you know, he's a smart guy. At that point, he had been in business 30 years. It was like, you know, he probably knows what he's talking about. He sees something in me. He said, you have to be shrewd and savvy, and those are business people qualities that are, you know, if you're shrewd and savvy, you're gonna make it in business. And he's like, and you have that. And I'm like, what'd you call me? You know, like, so then I started thinking, like, what kind of a business could I start? So I still had a part-time job over at the shirt factory, and I spent a lot of time around artists, and I thought, well, gosh, you know, these artists really need some help with their marketing. And I was talking to Bev Saunders at Saunders Gallery, BJS Artworks at the time, and so she spent so much time, you know, hanging up posters and putting up posters and advertising on Facebook and posting on Facebook and hanging, you know, things around town and like having to do her data entry and all of that stuff. I was like, when do you ever actually frame anything? You are so busy organizing these gallery shows and promoting things. Like, how in the world do you do that? So that's really where I got the idea. I was like, well, I could help with that, you know? I mean, you guys, you know, you artists, you do your thing, you make art, and I'll help with the marketing side of it. So it almost was Advocate for Artists. That was like almost the name, and I'm glad I didn't pigeonhole myself. With the name, I was just, you know, hitting it for weeks, like, just what is this business name? What is it gonna be? I started with Katie Did, but that sounded like preschool, or, you know, I wanted my name in there somehow. I wanted to be clever, and it was Frida Tote who actually said, why don't you put Kate at the end of the word? And I came up with some like rude words that have Kate at the end that we didn't name the business after, but Advocate just seemed like the right one. And it's interesting because that has like become kind of like our, you know, our drumbeat. Like, we advocate, we stand up for people, we do that not only in, you know, our client work, but also out in the community. We really, you know, stand up for people. And you just always are who you are. And I received a citizenship award in kindergarten because I stood up on the playground to a bully and got beat up.
Oh my God.
Like, she was picking on somebody, and I went up and I like stood up for her.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've been advocating for a very long time. It's just part of who I am, so it's really, you know, it's really the right name for the business.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
What are the initial businessy steps that you took? Because I think it's a little different when you're starting out with friends and family and things like that. And then what exactly did you do to branch off initially? Because I think a lot of people don't know where to start. They have a great idea, they have some initial connections, and then they don't know what else to do. Yeah,
so this is actually what I do as part of initial consultations. So I give this spiel a lot. Initial consultations are just $25. You can come and I'll give you this spiel in person. But step one, you know, what is your business? What are you doing? And it's okay if it's a little gelatinous, because it'll firm up as you progress and as you talk to more people. You got to name the thing. You can start by just getting a DBA once you have a name for it. If it's not just your name, you know, I mean, because it could just be your name if you're like freelancer or something. If you need to be able to accept checks as, like, say, Advocate instead of just Chaos Navon, you can go to the county, like, it's, you know, Warren County Municipal Center, and register your DBA. It's like $30. So then you're like an official, you know, you can accept checks made out to that DBA. You can open a bank account, and then you should call SCORE, SCORE.org, set up an appointment. They give free business counseling, and they're just fantastic for startups. They help you write your marketing plan. The other thing I think everybody should do is go to SUNY Adirondack and enroll in their Startup 80K class. They have, you know, an insurance expert come in an HR expert come in, a lawyer come in, a marketing person come in, and SCORE comes in, and you have this kind of class of like, we all started up our business at the same time, and you support each other, and you can bounce ideas off of each other, and that's where those ideas that you had might start to firm up. You might, kind of the feedback from your class and from these professionals helps your business come into focus. Creating those that business plan and thinking about well, how much money do I need to run this business and to live my life? Am I gonna keep working at my day job while I'm getting this thing launched, or am I gonna go apply for funding? A lot of the time when you apply for funding, you still need to have like your own chunk of money to like that they're leveraging. And then once it's time to get out there, then there's logo, there's website, there's Facebook page, there's Instagram page, there's your Google presence, there's a lot of other those are more like when you get to the marketing side of things you really want to think about. And we always recommend people also think about their brand, and that's something you can do a little bit of in that micro enterprise assistance or the Startup Adokate class. There's classes out there. It's something that we help people with. We have a brand workbook that, you really want to try to think about who is my ideal client and how you get in their shoes and solve a problem for them, as opposed to just trying to say like, hey, buy my thing. Because maybe they don't want to. Maybe you're after the wrong people. Maybe everybody doesn't want to buy your thing. You have to figure out who your market is. So
yeah, and I think you really found that niche, and then it was able to expand. And I think one of the things that's really cool about what you do is you come in at all different stages in people's businesses. You work with people who have been around for 30 years. You work with people who just have a vague idea, and you help all of them bring everything into focus, which I think is really, really cool and unique to what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And some of my favorites are the startups. I love like helping people name things or come up with their tagline, or, it's really like, I think that's just some of the juiciest stuff, is like to be there like at the beginning. I feel like a midwife, like helping them, like birth their idea and, maybe leave their day job and like take this big, exciting, like scary, like wonderful next step into like, self-employment and starting a business. And it's my favorite thing.
Yeah. How long were you in business before you were able to just do Advocate full time?
I did both things for a while. Like I managed the shirt factory for 4.5 years. So, I was very cautious. I was extremely cautious with Advocate. I never said, I'm just going to take out a loan or rack up some debt and just jump in. I mean, it took me, I don't know how many years, 7 years before I made my first like real hire. But I think that was smart in the long run. It was what allowed me to take 3 maternity leaves, self-funded. And, I've really been a cautious business person. Started out on a shoestring. I put $1,000 in a bank account and said, if I blow through that, I guess I'll wait tables. Like, we'll just see if this is going to work or not. And so I never, I instantly like paid myself back within like months. And then I had a list of, I want a printer. I want a real computer. I was working on a little $400 laptop that I'd had for like a number of years. I wanted a chamber membership. That was like right there on my to-do list. So pretty quickly, like I accomplished those goals, and I thought that was like really awesome that I had like, I want a printer, I want a computer, I want, this membership. It was, very like, wow, I'm doing it. I'm, as I was crossing those things off. And then it was, like I said, I was balancing both things for a long time. And then went all in with Advocate. It was probably 4 years in. At every step it was this like, I'm jumping off a cliff and I hope I can grow wings and fly. Like it was a kind of a terrifying, like, let's just see what happens, like really just close your eyes and jump in and hopefully, if you believe in yourself enough, you can do it. So that happened, and then I hired my husband part-time, and he left his Irving tissue job that was, well-paying job, but he had to work nights and weekends, and it was rough, and so that was like a big step. And then he was part-time for a while, and then I was like, there's just so much work, I need you. And so, we jumped in and we had to pay our own health insurance, so that was like a very big step as well. And then like our next big step was hiring you. And so it's, and Caitlin's going to be increasing her hours in January, So
excited.
yeah, so things are rocking and rolling, and every time it's this big scary jump, and I love when I can be there for other people and say, like, you can do it too. You know, I mean, I know it's scary because I've done it. Like at every step, you know, it's a big scary level up, but you do it. You have to, like, you just have to, because how do you? I mean, otherwise nothing ever changes. Every time I've jumped out and said, oh my gosh, I hope Glens Falls catches me, they catch me, and it's been really wonderful. And I think we live in one of the best places to start a business. We have a lot of support from the collaborative, the Glens Falls Collaborative, the Adirondack Regional Chamber of Commerce, the Lake George Regional Chamber of Commerce is doing great things for tourism. We have SCORE, we have other business support systems here, like there's WorkSmart, there's Waldron Works, there's a lot of like business support out there, and just really good people here. And you know, I really just think it's fertile ground for planting your business here in Glens Falls. So I hope more people jump off that cliff, and I can help them with their wings.
Yeah. So if we had to hone it all in, and if you had to say your top 3 initial steps someone would need to take to start their business, what would you say those 3 things to focus on would be?
Okay. The idea. Who wants it? I really think that's like, you know, if you've got a great idea but like nobody wants your thing and you are aiming it at the wrong people, that's like, you don't have a business. There's nothing there.
Back to what you were saying about the pain points and solving them, figuring that out first.
Right, finding your market. So what is the business idea? And it can be, like I said, gelatinous. I just keep saying gelatinous. I know it's kind of like a weird, gross word, but you know, it can be blurry. You know, who wants your thing? And then I don't know. I just think naming it is like the most fun thing. It really is so fun. And then once you name it, you know what it is. And then the next step after that, I really think when I built Advocate's website, that's when I figured out what Advocate was. It was like, well, what needs to go on my homepage to tell people what they need to know about my business? What goes on my about page? Like, why would they pick me? Like, what does anybody care about me? You know, what are my services? That was like the biggest thing. Like, what is my list of services? I don't even know. Let me figure out what it is. You know, and then your contact page. But like that home about services contact. Bless you. Corey's sneezy. I really think like building your website helps you figure out what your business is and how it's going to appeal to people. Like I really think it's a good tool to just, you know, figure out how. So, bless you.
So how can people get in touch with you to start their own business or to refine what they already have?
They can go to advocate.net/date and set up an initial consultation. It's $25. And that's where we can just, you know, talk about your idea, talk about where you're at. We really like to meet people where they're at and just figure out what are the next steps and divvy it up depending on their budget. Because, I mean, I've had people come and say, oh, I'm so glad you offer an initial consultation for $25. I'm starting a business and my budget is $100. What do I do? And I go, okay, this is how you do this yourself. This is how you do that yourself. This is free. This is free. Get your sister to do, you know, like we figure it out. Advocate.net/date for that initial consultation.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have any questions for us at all, make sure to leave us a comment. If you liked this video, like it, share it. We have lots of good tidbits on our website, on our social media all the time. We have a great blog that we put out. So yeah, give us a follow if you like what you see, and we'll be back next month.
Yeah. All right. Coffee talk.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.